What happens when the tourism industry collapses? Not just a slow season, but a full stop, hotels empty, planes grounded collapse. Tourism feels permanent, but what if it isn't? Today we're diving into a quiet crisis, reshaping America's economy. This isn't just about canceled vacations. It's about the human cost when an entire industry grinds to a halt. 5 U.S. states are facing a massive loss of over 100,000 jobs, and that's just the beginning. The impact goes far beyond hotel staff and tour guides. It hits farmers, construction workers, and small business owners who depend on tourism's ripple effect. When tourists vanish, the economic ecosystem they sustain starts to unravel, with consequences that reach every corner of these communities. How did we get here, and what does it mean for millions whose livelihoods are suddenly at risk? Let's look beyond the headlines and explore the machinery of the tourism economy. We'll uncover which states are most at risk and how the collapse of tourism is reshaping local economies across the country. Let's start in Las Vegas, Nevada, a city built on spectacle and chance. For decades, tourism and hospitality have powered Nevada's economy, creating jobs for thousands. But when the flow of visitors slows to a trickle, the impact is immediate and devastating. Hotels cut staff, casinos need fewer dealers, and showrooms go dark, leaving performers and technicians out of work. That's just the first wave. The real danger is the secondary wave of job losses that ripple through the entire economy. Buffets and restaurants order less food, so suppliers lay off drivers and warehouse workers. Fewer tourists mean less demand for taxis, ride shares, and airport services. Rental car fleets sit idle, and airport jobs disappear. Retail inside casinos, luxury brands, and souvenir shops alike see sales plummet, leading to layoffs and closures. Construction projects stall as casino profits drop, putting architects, engineers, and laborers out of work. Local businesses that serve hospitality workers, dry cleaners, lunch spots, childcare centers, feel the pinch as workers lose income and cut spending. This creates a vicious cycle. Less spending means more job losses, shrinking the state's tax base and threatening funding for schools and public services. The collapse of tourism in Nevada isn't just about empty hotel rooms, it's about the entire economic web unraveling. The city's focus on a single industry has become its greatest vulnerability. The dazzling lights of Vegas are powered by visitors. When they disappear, the whole system flickers and dims. It's a lesson in how interconnected a modern economy is, how a bartender's fate is tied to a warehouse worker, and how the absence of a tourist can ripple across an entire community. The glitter of Vegas hides a fragile ecosystem, now facing a profound crisis. Now let's head to Florida, the Sunshine State, where tourism is a way of life. Florida's economy is built on selling sunshine and experiences, from Disney World to Miami Beach. Its tourism is vast and distributed, but that just means the pain of collapse is spread wider. When global events ground flights or tighten budgets, Florida feels it instantly. Theme parks, beachfront hotels, and cruise lines are hit first with swift, massive layoffs. The ripple effect devastates construction and real estate. New projects halt, subcontractors lose work, and demand for vacation homes vanishes. Hospitality workers forced to sell homes flood the market, pushing property values down. Local businesses, surf shops, airboat tours, fishing charters, see revenue drop by 80% or more overnight. Seasonal workers and guides are left with no income and few options. Even agriculture suffers. Restaurants and hotels cut orders, leaving farmers with surplus crops and lost income. Florida's reliance on sales tax makes it especially vulnerable. With no personal income tax, the state depends on tourist spending to fund schools and infrastructure. Miami's role as a gateway to Latin America means a drop in international travel hits logistics and trade too. The collapse of tourism creates a widespread economic malaise, connecting the fate of a theme park worker in Orlando to a fishing guide in the Keys. When the visitors are gone, Florida's sunny economy reveals its fragility. Now let's journey across the Pacific to Hawaii, a paradise whose economy is almost entirely tourism. Hawaii's isolation makes it uniquely vulnerable. You can't drive there. Every visitor arrives by plane, making the industry sensitive to global shocks. When flights stop, the effect is immediate. Resorts become ghost towns, and job losses are staggering. The shutdown ripples through the islands. Nearly everything is imported, and with fewer tourists, shipping volume drops. Shipping companies raise prices to stay afloat, so the cost of living for residents actually goes up, even as incomes vanish. Local farms, geared toward high-end tourist restaurants, lose their main customers and can't easily pivot to local sales. Land use is tied to tourism, driving up property values and making housing unaffordable for many locals, even as resorts sit empty. The cultural impact is immense. Many native Hawaiian traditions are supported by tourism. When visitors disappear, so does vital income for cultural practitioners. Small businesses, surf schools, art galleries, jewelry makers are often the heart of their communities, but without tourists, they face extinction. Hawaii's government relies heavily on hotel taxes to fund essential services. When occupancy drops, the state faces devastating budget cuts. In Hawaii, the collapse of tourism is an existential crisis. Its isolation, import dependence, and reliance on a single industry create a perfect storm. The paradise marketed to the world is underpinned by a fragile economic model, one that, when broken, threatens the very livelihood and well-being of its people. Next, the Golden State, California. Its economy is huge and diverse, but that masks deep vulnerabilities in tourism-dependent regions. California isn't a single economy, it's a patchwork of specialized local economies, many woven almost entirely from tourism. In Southern California, tourism and entertainment are deeply intertwined. Hollywood's Walk of Fame, studio tours, and live events draw millions. When travel stops, the ecosystem of events, hotels, restaurants, and gig workers grinds to a halt. Theme parks like Disneyland are economic anchors. A shutdown devastates not just park employees but the hotels, restaurants, and shops that rely on visitors. City budgets, heavily reliant on hotel taxes, are decimated. In San Diego, the loss of conventions like Comic-Con means lost business for hotels, restaurants, and small shops that depend on those crowds. Smaller destinations, Napa wineries, Tahoe ski resorts, coastal towns, are hit even harder. Their economies depend almost entirely on visitors. A season without travelers is catastrophic for these communities. Wineries, for example, rely on tasting room sales and events as much as wine production. While Silicon Valley and the Central Valley may keep humming, tourism-dependent regions face a full-blown depression. California's diversity becomes a source of inequality. One region booms while another busts. The job losses in entertainment, events, and small businesses are immense and not easily absorbed elsewhere. California's story is a warning. Even a massive, diversified economy can hide deep, localized crises when tourism collapses. Finally, New York City, the city that never sleeps, powered by a constant churn of visitors. NYC's tourism is built on density. Broadway, the Empire State Building, the Met, Fifth Avenue, Times Square. When visitors stop coming, the city's heartbeat slows. Broadway's shutdown is symbolic and devastating. It's not just actors and stagehands. Restaurants, hotels, and shops in the theater district all suffer. The restaurant scene, world-famous and diverse, relies on tourists to fill tables and keep doors open. Without them, closures and layoffs follow. Retail giants on Fifth Avenue and Soho depend on international shoppers. When travel stops, these stores become unsustainable. Museums and cultural institutions lose ticket sales and gift shop revenue, forcing layoffs and cutbacks. Transportation takes a hit. Cabs, ride shares, airport workers, and the MTA all see business plummet. The hotel industry, one of the city's largest employers, faces mass layoffs as occupancy rates collapse. Even the city's skyline feels it. Observation decks lose all revenue, impacting building finances. The collapse of tourism is a body blow to New York's identity and economy, exposing the fragility of its interconnected industries. The city's density, usually its strength, becomes a conduit for economic pain, spreading from a dark theater to an empty hotel to a quiet restaurant. Even the world's most dynamic cities aren't immune to a tourism shock. So, what have we seen? From Vegas to Broadway, the collapse of tourism is a systemic shock, not a niche problem. These 5 states are just the beginning. Tourism's collapse reveals vulnerabilities we've long ignored. The interconnectedness that fuels growth in good times becomes a conduit for crisis in bad times. The road to recovery will be long and complex. It demands we rethink economic resilience and diversify communities. How can we create better safety nets for gig workers and small business owners? The conversation is urgent. What do you think can be done to help these states recover? Share your ideas in the comments. Understanding these complex systems is the first step towards solutions. If you found this deep dive valuable, please support the channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more content. Thanks for watching.